Hello and welcome to Midwich TV. I am Louis Robinson and joining me I have Steve Robertson from Samsung so we can talk about Tech Expo and get you excited for the event. Before we do that though, Steve, how are we doing, buddy?
Doing very well, thanks, Louis. Thank you very much for having me again. It's good to see you. Last time I think we got together, I was cutting a fairly jaded figure, let's say that at the end of ISE. So yeah, really looking forward to this little session here, and obviously a few weeks' time when we get together for Tech Expo.
Perfect, mate. And for anyone out there who doesn't know who you are, give us a quick introduction.
Okay, so my name's Steve Robertson. I'm head of signage for Samsung UK.
Brilliant, perfect. Right, Tech Expo, we're getting everyone excited for the event. What are you bringing to this year's show? Okay,
so it wouldn't be a Samsung event, or it's not our event actually, sorry. It wouldn't be Samsung partaking in an event without showcasing our LED products. So we will have our all-in-one solution on the stand. We will also be bringing along our interactive range of products, which has seen great success during 2024. We will be showcasing VXT, which is our new digital signage platform, which will be running alongside Magic Info. So really excited about the development pathway that's been on. And we will also be setting up a SmartThings Pro environment. So more on that in a little bit, hopefully, as we start to get under the hood of what we're going to be doing.
Nice, and I'm going to dial things back for a moment. It's all good to talk about the shiny stuff and the tech that comes to an event, but can you talk to us a little bit about the journey on what Samsung do before a show to get ready for the show? So what are you thinking about to put your stands together? What are you thinking about when you're bringing tech?
That's a really good point, actually, because I would suggest over the last 18 months or so, we've made a conscious effort, actually, around sort of less is more. So that's not diminishing or reducing the amount of emphasis that we have around certain products, but it is, we would like the opportunity to have these conversations and talk about some of the wider solutions, but we're mindful that we have a very, very extensive portfolio of products. We can't get it all on there, but we actually use it as a platform really to showcase a lot of our messaging, actually. And then alongside that, I think a real key component is making sure that we've got the right balance of people that are actually there to provide the support for the event. So yes, of course, there'll be a healthy sales focus, but I think ensuring that we've got those representatives from product management, from our pre-sales and solutions architects team. And I think, that's a really important message to be able to put out to both our channel partners and beyond to end customers and the consultant community.
Nice, and staying on that theme of messaging then, some big message that everyone's been talking to me about over the last few years actually has been sustainability, right? Mm-hmm. It's everywhere, it's on the tenders, it's in any little project we work on nowadays. What are Samsung doing to apply themselves to those spaces where you're saying to someone, we are sustainable for these reasons, we can help you with the green tick for these reasons?
Yeah, and actually getting your head around, I guess, all the varying degrees of sustainability thresholds and conditions that are actually being outlaid, as you rightly say, within sort of tender frameworks. It's certainly not an afterthought anymore. It is a significant part of those sort of the tender process, and quite right too. And from a Samsung perspective, as a global manufacturer, we're recognised as the 5th largest brand in the world. So there is an absolute inherent responsibility on us to be able to deliver a whatever that sustainable message might be. And there are some big high ticket sort of numbers in terms of our commitment and our pledges towards sustainability. If I maybe remove myself from that and take us into what we're doing around sort of display, we sort of focus it around probably 4 or 5 core pillars. We've got sourcing. So what are we doing around that? The actual production process itself. The use, how is it being used, and what are we doing to affect energy savings, for example, when it comes to the way in which our devices are used. And actually the sort of final part, and it links into that kind of circular economy, is around recycling. What's our initiatives in that space to take maybe some of that kit that's reached the end of its life or could be repurposed, and then providing a sort of pathway where that could be recycled and then replenished with more up-to-date equipment. And I think we've made really, really strong strides in every one of those areas. And but moreover, we know as any company, I think, who is being absolutely upfront and honest about it, we can be doing more. And that's the absolute pledge I would suggest from Samsung's perspective. Put your teeth back in.
It's good to hear from yourself about that, because like it wouldn't be wrong for me to say the size of a company that Samsung are.
Yeah.
You are thought leaders in this space, right? You are the ones effectively making the pathway for others to follow and say, well, if you as an organisation that's that big can do it, what can we do to make it better at the lower levels, let's say?
Yeah, and I think actually by virtue of that, you know, as the size of the business, you become under more scrutiny, right? And the expectation, isn't it? And like I say, there can be some, they're not throwaway numbers by any means, but like there's some big numbers. But how does that become meaningful at almost like a sort of micro level? And I'm, like I say, I'm talking around what we're doing in a display perspective, but I can assure you that, and actually one of the real key drivers and outward initiatives from a technical innovation is SmartThings. So SmartThings will be familiar, I would hope, to a number of viewers of this. But it's how do we take that innovation that it's been more readily available and driven towards the domestic and consumer or residential market, and then into more enterprise or commercial spaces. And you know, that's something that we are absolutely going to be touching on during Tech Xpo and actually demonstrating that. And what that could hopefully mean for audiovisual design and systems and solutions. So
you mentioned earlier about bringing different team members along as well. So you're not just having salespeople, you've got brand managers there, you've got pre-sales techs there, architects and people like that with you. What kind of messaging do you think people are going to take away from the stand, from getting to meet all those individuals in your organisation? Yeah,
and I think that's absolutely critical, right? So as a manufacturer, more often than not, I guess it would be the outward face would be the sales teams, isn't it? Because by virtue of the fact they are meeting with our distribution partners, but also our channel partners, and then customers, and as I say, the consultant community. But behind that, there is it really is underpinned by a brilliant support network, and that's not just only in the UK. We also have our European display organisation, which is a further layer of technical support that supports our European subsidiaries, of which we have 19, so the UK being clearly a predominant one of those. So, you know, I absolutely want those customers that are good enough and to afford us the time on the Samsung stand to know that a relationship and a partnership with Samsung is more than attainable, and that we are committed to working with as many people as we can and providing value in areas. It's not just about providing, yes, we would love you to consider our technology, but we want to give you the meaningful reasons behind why. So I hope that's one of the big takeaways, and the people behind it.
Yeah, great. And it's nice to hear that as well. The thought process there is going into that whole messaging. It's not just a sales team, right? Again, not burning down on sales teams, but no. It's quite nice to be able to come to a stand and come to a brand and say, look, we are a whole organisation here and we've got different levels of you to work with to reassure you as an end user, right, of what we're doing to support you through your journey. Absolutely. And to get under the hood of the product. But then moreover, actually, I think another key consideration is the after sale, isn't it? And now that can be from a technical standpoint, but also the customer service element. So as we have with our CX team, we have a dedicated display CX team, and you know, we're looking at ways that we can enhance that offering, whether that be with extended warranty profiles and potential SLAs that may need to be observed into sort of mission critical areas, or those areas where they're hard to service during the day, retail being a great example. So yeah, I think doing a 360 within the team is really, really important. And again, using Tech Xpo as a platform to actually demonstrate what Samsung has to offer. Now, I'm a techie at heart, so I have to bring this back to a product. Yeah. What's most excited you about this year in the Samsung range? I think in terms of evolution and movement into a completely different space, virtual production would have to be one of those. And I think by virtue of the fact we are it's unusual, but Samsung is really having to be a challenger in that space. So what does that mean? So how do we pivot, and what's our point of entry? Our point of entry has to be to have something that our competitors do not, and that really sort of stands us out from a lot of industry standards that have been set in that world. So I think that the actual entry into that market
has really broadened our horizons. It's opened up many, many new opportunities, many new partners, and like I say, completely different conversations as a use case. But then I think the work that our interactive team have done to really, really reprofile Samsung as a very, very credible solution for the interactive market, particularly into education. And Drew, Joe, and Adrian have done a phenomenal job, and we've been really brilliantly supported by Midwich as well, I have to say, in that regard. And then the one thing, I guess, in fact, I'll say the one thing. There's two other things that I'm really, really excited about: SmartThings Pro, and hopefully we're going to come on to that maybe in slightly more detail about the opportunity and where that is going, and e-paper. So e-paper has been spoken about probably for about the last 18 months. So we're in the sort of final throes, I think, of having that product coming to market towards the end of this year. So that was probably not the short answer you were looking for, but I'm excited.
Oh, it's good to get detail right, and it shows the excitement whenever we can actually talk about it. Now, I want to dive into all of those things in loads of detail, but I'd completely ruin the show if I did that, right? Because we'd be giving everything away now.
Yeah.
But Smart Vision Pro, give me a quick overview of that. That still leaves me wanting more to come to Tech Xpo and see.
Yeah, so SmartThings, as I referenced earlier, has been born out of very much a home or a residential requirement to kind of automate your household. And the challenge has always been, how can we take that? And SmartThings as an ecosystem is the largest in the world for connected devices. And that opportunity to take that and roll it into more commercial or enterprise applications has been driving the team who've been really sort of spearheading SmartThings ever since I joined Samsung almost 3 years ago. So where are we at? I mean, I think if you just highlight the opportunity that potentially is available as well, if you think globally, the investment in enterprise IoT is north of 260 billion.
Massive numbers.
So that suggests there is a real appetite to invest in that world, but also connected devices within a building within that space. So I'd say we're not moving away from the importance of a household architecture, if you like, but the ability to move that into commercial premises, into retail environments, into university campuses, where we can look at, whether that's from a building management perspective, or are we looking at its optimization of the use of space as well. So whether we're bringing in occupancy sensors, lighting, everything's geared towards being able to automate that experience and control it, but also manage it like from an energy perspective. So when you go back to that question you're asking me around sustainability, that would have a meaningful impact on the energy consumption of a building.
Huge.
I think the other thing as well, like I was saying about the size of the SmartThings ecosystem, it is not just wedded to Samsung. It's enormous. There are thousands and thousands of products and hundreds of manufacturers that are linked to this, and it's all driven by very universal standards, whether that be Matter or Zigbee, whatever it might be. So, I would say, we would really welcome the opportunity to discuss that, and then have further discussions, which I really, really hope that Tech Xpo is going to prompt.
Nice. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to break away now, because me and you, obviously, we're sitting here smiling, talking about nerding off. Yeah, definitely. We could be talking and making a video for about 3 days, I think, if we get around to everything. So I'm going to cut us off there, though. Absolute pleasure, mate, as always, catching up. I'm excited about the show. You're clearly excited about the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you there, mate. Tech Expo, 23rd, 24th of October. Come down to Royal Ascot. This is Midwich TV. I'm Louis Robinson. I can't wait to see you at the show.